Roll call. I am here. Linda is here. Yolanda is here. Carol is here. Jim Bender is here. Student Ms. Gaddis is here. And Joanna Marquez is missing. Absent. Approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Motion by Sanchez and seconded by Ms. Bray. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Student?
Do
Do we have any comments or questions?
no public comment.
And we will dispense with the verb. ASB report. Ms. Gaddis.
So, we just started passing out lift passes for this semester. The sophomore class is going on a field trip to the Museum of Tolerance on February 21st. Prom tickets are now on sale for $65 and the price will increase in February. There's a scholarship available for senior CSF members. And if you have any books or that you don't read or use, the National English Honor Society will take them. And they'll be taking them through February 1st. Drop-off boxes are the office in Ms. Vasquez's room, 604. Yearbooks are currently being sold for $75 and will go up to $80 after spring break. Drama auditions for the upcoming spring play Aladdin are tomorrow. And our winter ball semi-formal is on January 26th. Tickets are $7 and $10 at the door. Miss King, the ABC counselor, will be on campus through the month of January. The sophomore class is selling RHS merch, Adidas, Under Armour, and other branded hoodies, jackets, long sleeves, t-shirts, hats, cups, blankets, and chairs. Come ask any sophomore to take a look at a catalog, including myself. Boys and girls soccer, their game actually has been canceled for tomorrow, so yeah. That's it.
What about basketball?
Oh, basketball has a game against Frazier tomorrow, I believe.
That one might get canceled. Canceled.
We don't know.
Okay. Thank you. It's supposed to snow.
You said it was a warm front.
Oh. So it's changed. I'm glad. I'm done with this cold. Rose Stripes Alaska trip?
Yes.
And so we had the opportunity to go to Alaska. We've done a lot with Rose Strides in the past. We met at several other schools. We had gone to DC, and now we're looking at also now going with science students, taking them as well to Alaska. So we got a video here we'll actually show, and then I'll be able to, Cindy Angel will give you some more information.
Alaska, an amazing land of vast wilderness and unspoiled beauty, and home to an amazing variety of wildlife. Now, you and your friends have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to explore the last great frontier for yourself. On this incredible journey with your friends, you'll see vistas that will astound you.
I think hands down it's the view, the scenery, everything. I've never seen somewhere where the sky is so beyond blue and then there's so much green.
And animals you may have only seen on TV. When you head deep into Denali National Park, home to over 6 million acres of pristine wilderness, you'll come face to face with some of Alaska's more famous residents.
I just wanted to see a moose, and I saw that the second I got here. We saw lots of caribou. Caribou are everywhere around here. We saw lots of grizzly bears. We saw lots of bald eagles. You name it, it's here.
Take a peek at Mount Denali, the highest mountain in North America.
One memory that will really stick with me is when we went to Denali, because I have never seen a peak that high, and then I'm just like...
Or cruise into Resurrection Bay and be amazed by some playful marine life.
We've seen whales now, humpback whales, orcas, sea lions, otters. It blew my expectations out of the water.
The experiences and adventures are non-stop. visit some furry friends, and learn about the important role they played in Alaska's history. Ride the rails deep into the wilderness on the famous Alaskan Railroad.
To experience a train here in Alaska with so much green, so much wildlife, so much everything, it took my first train ride to like a whole another level.
So not much going on right now.
Tour one of only 2 tsunami warning centers in the world, and hear how senior research scientists learn more about earthquakes. Hike to Exit Glacier, to the edge of the Harding Ice Field, one of the largest expanses of ice in the world.
Everyone in the whole Alaskan community is trying to preserve their parks and their wildlife, trying to keep human life from interfering with everything, and I think that's incredible.
Alaska is astounding.
Peaceful.
Gorgeous, heavenly,
Riveting.
mesmerizing.
It's the coolest.
Alaska is something else.
Alaska is breathtaking.
Your trip will be led by your very own course leader, an Alaskan native who will share fun facts and answer all your questions along the way.
I learned so much. I learned about animals, I learned about plants that have like different genders, and I feel like it's such a great experience to learn hands-on.
Whether seeing amazing sights or enjoying the good life of Alaskan culture, you'll be sharing this experience with your friends.
I feel like nothing will ever be able to capture how beautiful it is. Like no camera, like nothing unless you come here.
The classroom, you sit down, you hear about it, and you see pictures, and the pictures look too good to be true, and then when you come to Alaska, it still looks too good to be true, but you see that it is real, and it's there, and it's so hands-on, it keeps you interested.
I recommend this trip to other students because why not? It's one of the greatest places to see in the world. That's why I came.
When you and your friends join us in Alaska, you'll discover science, nature, and history all come alive on a travel adventure you will never forget.
So that's a presentation on Alaska there. For those that don't know me, my name is Thomas Hahn. I am currently the science teacher and chairperson at RHS, and so we have this opportunity to go beyond just the typical social studies going off there, and through World Strides it's also interconnected with the Smithsonian. So I'll have Cindy Angel come up and talk a little bit more about all the stuff that goes along with this, and the fact that one major thing is that it will not cost you anything within the district. So I just need your permission to be able to present this to our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for letting me come and speak to you today. I actually was a teacher for 33 years. I hold a Life California teaching credential, did everything from kindergarten through 12th grade. I personally have taken students on educational travel opportunities. I've taken hundreds of kids over the years to Washington, D.C. So I can speak from firsthand experience how these trips changed lives. We were started by a Chicago school teacher back in 1967, Phil Wendell. He wanted to get his kids outside of the classroom walls and experience what he was teaching them in the classroom on a first-hand basis, and World Strides was born. We have taken, in that 51 years, we have taken more than 7 million students on different educational opportunities. We are a WASC accredited school. In fact, we are accredited with every accrediting body across the United States. There's about 7 of them. So we have gone through the same process that your school goes through for WASC accreditation. We have a full-time director of education, Dr. Wendy Amata. She and her team make sure that all of our different programs, science programs and history programs, meet the different state requirements. And with California going Common Core, we actually have been Common Core compliant since 1997 when we became an accredited school. I've put together a packet of information for you. You have them on your desks. If you can open that up and you look at the 4th page, I believe it is, it says World Strides at a Glance. That kind of gives you a blow-by-blow of who we are. We carry a $50 million liability policy, so you and your students and the district and the school, the teacher, the janitor, everybody is completely safe. There is nothing that you have to do. This is outside of school time, so school is not in session. It's going to be during the summer. It'll be, in June, right after school gets out, so there's no impact on school time. All of our documentation, in fact, I've included one of the invitations for this particular trip in your packet, and when you get a chance, you can open that up, and you will see it says in big block bold print, this is not a district or school-sponsored trip. So the school has nothing to do with it whatsoever. We have all of our science programs meet the next generation science standards as well, and that is also included in your packet. I've included my card for you if you have any further questions that you want to talk to me about. I am more than happy to discuss that with you. As Mr. Hahn said, we have been chosen by the Smithsonian Institute as their preferred travel group. So that says a lot. As I said, we have been around for 51 years. We take over 1,500 teachers from California alone every year on different educational opportunities. One of the great things that I love about World Strides is we put our money where our mouth is. We want students to do this. And to that end, we have what we call our FLAG Foundation, Future Leaders of American Government. We give away in excess of $2 million every year to help families do this for their students. We've got great fundraising tools. We even have a program called our Extended Payment Plan. We've been doing this with our history programs, and we just brought it on with our science programs. And what that allows the families to do is pay a small amount every month until the trip is paid for, even after the student has traveled. So the way I explain it, it's like buying a car. You make your monthly payments, you get to drive your car and enjoy your car, and you pay for the car until the car's paid off. Same thing. You make your monthly payments, you get to go on the trip, you pay for the trip until the trip is paid off. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Not only that, students can receive free high school credit because we are a WASC accredited school. And with this science program and several of our other science programs, they actually can receive free college credit from UCSD, University of California at San Diego. They can receive either 1 unit or 3 units. They have to do the coursework, but it's not going to cost them an extra dime. Having that on their transcript is going to be a wonderful thing. And like I said, it doesn't cost them anything. So being a UC campus, that's going to be transferable any college that they go to across the United States. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. Okay, I guess that's it, unless there's any questions. Yes, sir.
So they'll have, it's a science program.
This is a science program, yes.
They'll have like a classroom type.
They have a course leader that is with them. All of our course leaders have bachelor's degrees, 80% of them have master's degrees. They are destination specialists, so it's not somebody that we just hired off, the road. They know the material, they know the area. Each student receives what we call a discovery journal for each of our different locations that we do trips in. So we would have a discovery journal for Alaska that they would be able to have and fill information out as they're going along. There's trivia, there's important information, there's educational activities that they can do in the book. Then they can use that to do either the high school credit or the college credit. And that's all online, so there's no extra work for the teacher. It's all done through World Strides. No, and that's what I want to make very clear to you. This is not a field trip. This is a learning experience. This is an educational experience. So I've been on our trips. I went on our Iceland trip. And I am not a science person, my degrees are in music. And I'll tell you, I was blown away. I mean, those kids, it was so fun watching them get excited and the learning process. Iceland being, sustainable and renewable energy, one of the things the kids got to do is they got to boil eggs in a hot spring and then get to eat the eggs afterwards. It was just a wonderful experience watching them, as they learned by doing. So
This says it's based on 35.
Well, it's based on 35 with the idea that they're going to group with other schools. Okay, so you may not have 35, but we're going to match the people that we have from this school with other schools. I have 2 schools up north. I have one in Fresno and one in Hanford that have, 10, 12 people they're matching together.
So could the price then change?
No, it shouldn't change. If it's based actually on a 1 to 10 ratio for the teacher to go free. So as long as there are the 10, then there wouldn't be any increase. The 35, as I said, is based on, we have a lot of schools that are traveling. And so they would be matched, your school would be matched with another school. Because to be very honest with you, to get 35 in your school is probably going to be very difficult. So that's why we match. We do that with all of our trips, everyone.
And when does the money, so what happens, say a student puts a deposit down and the parents make payments and they can't afford it, what happens with that money? Do they get refunded totally?
There is a refund program that they can sign up for. If they get to the point where they're having difficulty and they're not able to make the payments, they can call customer service, and customer service will work on a case-by-case basis to work out a payment schedule so that they can go. We do that all the time.
I probably have a question for the board. I'm new here, new at this stuff, so you said that it has nothing to do with our school. It benefits, it costs us nothing.
It costs you nothing.
So why are we here? Why are we talking
Because
about
the
it?
teacher wanted to get your approval before he moved forward.
Does he have to have our approval if it has nothing
Not
to do?
really, because it's outside of school time.
Because I am requesting this from the actual school and students, I felt it was better for me to get your permission so that
So
there was no.
you're requesting permission to pass out this
able to
information?
give this
Yes.
information to those programs.
Because the students sign up, I say it's a good program. Sounds fun to
Yeah,
me. Where do I
absolutely,
sign?
it's a good program.
Pay your $3,156
Okay.
right here.
But remember, we're starting this now for 1920.
Yes.
So this is not something we're doing this year. We're doing it for next school year. So they're gonna have a year and a half.
So that's the monthly payment in 149?
Yeah, I believe on this one it's 199.
199.
The history trips are 149, but I think on this one it's 199. But again, that's till it's paid off. So they can.
So they could go on a trip and
Absolutely.
if they decide not to pay, then there's legal.
Well, we don't have that happen too often.
Okay.
We'd be out of business if we did. We have done this extended payment program with our history trips for about the last 3 years. Parents have absolutely loved it, so they decided to roll it out this year with the science programs, and it has been wonderful. The science teachers are absolutely loving it.
And you said you also have trips to Washington,
We do Washington, D.C., we do Gettysburg, like D.C. Williamsburg, D.C. Gettysburg, D.C. New York, straight New York. In fact, I'm doing a meeting next week up in Fresno for a Catholic school that's doing a drama trip to New York City. We do Costa Rica, we do the Galapagos, Alaska, Hawaii, so Iceland. So we're kind of all over Florida. We have Florida science trips too. That usually that's like a middle school that does the Florida trips, but they get to swim with dolphins, they get to swim with manatees. It's very hands-on, which as an educator, that's how we know kids learn, is by being able to experience it firsthand.
The only way I learn.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the way I learn.
Well, thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for bringing that.
SKUSD parents class.
Good evening. My name is Heather Conklin. I am the lead school psychologist here in the school district. What that means is I'm over the school psychologist. I'm also the lead mental health therapist in the school district. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and that also means I'm over the interns. Our mental health interns, we have 2 of them. Ms. Campbell will introduce herself, and then we have another one, Ms. Roney, and then we have a practicum student who I oversee that does a day of therapy in our schools weekly. And so I'm housed at West Park Elementary School. So my school psychology, my main job is school psychology. I do have a very small counseling caseload, very small, and then, but I am available for crises at West Park and then throughout the district as needed. And I'll let Ms. Campbell-Lisa introduce herself in the meeting.
Hi, I'm Alicia Campbell-Lisa. I'm an associate MFT here at the district, and I love it. I'm over Ascend, the behavioral school over here, and Rosen High School, Abraham Lincoln, and Rare Earth, and wherever crises may pop up that I'm needed for, I'm there too. So Heather and I are just here to talk to you about some of the programs we're going to be doing over the next couple of months till the end of the school year. Our anger replacement therapy and our parenting classes.
So she's going to pass out the parenting class brochure and also the anger management brochure. So we're going to go through the parenting brochure first. It was our original brochure back in 2014, and we were having computer issues to change that, so we apologize.
Some of the dates are wrong.
We have, we are in 2019. So the parenting program that we have is called a Triple P. It stands for Positive Parenting Program. It is a research evidence-based program in over 30 countries. It started in Australia, and you actually have to go through extensive training to become a facilitator. I was fortunate enough to do my internship as a marriage and family therapist intern in a community mental health agency in Lancaster that actually put me through this training. And then Southern Kern Unified School District several years ago put me through the group training for the teenagers. So Triple P is what it's called, is a 7 to 8 week program. So Alicia and I are doing it in 7 weeks. It meets once a week for 2 hours, and it covers 4 main areas. So it starts with, first of all, building a positive relationship with your children, and then it goes into encouraging desirable behavior is the next session. The third session, we talk about managing misbehavior, so we sort of hit that last. And then we talk about, the last one is talking about taking care of yourself as a parent. We've done this ever since I was hired, so this is about our 5th year doing it. And Alicia joined me last year. Right? I think, no, it was the year before. It was the year before. And so we've had a good turnout. The parents are very, very, very much appreciative of the program. And we have a variety of reasons why parents come. and, but they all in their individual sessions, which are the last 3 weeks of the program, we get to meet with them individually.
The nice thing about the program is it doesn't tell you how to parent, it gives you strategies. And the feedback that we've gotten from all the parents is amazing. It's so nice at the end of the program for them to just say, it worked, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I've used some of the strategies on my own kids, and I really do think it's an amazing program.
It is. There's 2 sessions. So the first session that we're starting is Monday, February 4th. It's here in the boardroom from 6 to 8, and we're targeting 2-year-olds to 11-year-olds for 7 weeks, and then we will hit our adolescents, which is 12-year-olds to 18. And the adolescent one it's an amazing program too. I've had parents that when I did it were really thrilled with the way that was. So we'll be running that for 7 weeks and the elementary flyers went home today. I did ask the principals to do Blackboard messages every night for the next week and a half. And so that's that. So we also encourage the board that if you're in your hearings and you feel like a parent might benefit, you can definitely refer them to the program. We don't mind mandatory parents. That's what I'm used to teaching. So, do you have any questions about the parenting program? Yeah.
So you're saying you break up your teaching according to the age of the child?
That's correct. That's the way the nature of the program is, yes.
So 6 to 8-year-olds is one group and the other group is what?
The first group is 2 to 11, and the next session we're going to do is going to be 12 through 18.
Okay.
Is there like a workbook or a PowerPoint?
Yes.
There's both. Are they
Yeah, they're in the cupboard. I just keep them here because this is where we always do them, and I don't want to carry them back and forth.
When does the 12 to 18-year-old class be?
I'm sorry?
You said you're going to start the 2 to 11-year-old program on February 4th.
That's right.
When is the other program,
The other program is starting 7 weeks after that.
Oh, so you're going to just do 7
Back to back.
weeks of this age and then, got it.
Every parent gets one of these workbooks that we work through. And along with the workbook is a PowerPoint.
Yeah, there's PowerPoints and videos that go with that, that I got being trained. It's a $5,000, just to get trained is $5,000. So it's very expensive. So luckily I got the childhood training through the agency, and then the teenager, they hadn't had the group one yet. They only did individual. And while I was employed here, they came out with the group, and so I was sent to do the group one.
And for the first 4 weeks, we meet I think it's 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, we meet as a group. So everybody in the room, we're sharing ideas, we're collaborating, what's working, what's not, working through it together. And then we break it into individual sessions where we meet with the parents individually to address their specific needs and concerns.
How many parents do you have in the class?
It varies, the attendance and the classes.
Yeah.
We've had some sessions where we've had like 13, 14, and we've had some where we've had like 5 and 6. It kind of depends on when it gets out there, and because it is a commitment, it's not something they can just jump into at like week 2 or 3, and you have to be there all 7 weeks for it to be a successful program. So we try to hold it at the times we do between 6 and 8 because we're hoping it's dinner time's done and sports are kind of close to being over with at that point, and we can get the parents here.
That's right. Yeah, and the biggest groups are in the evening. When I was a mental health therapist in the district, only not a school psychologist, I did actually I was able to hold daytime classes, and interestingly enough, they weren't as full as our evening. Now our schedules are too busy. There's no way we could hold a daytime class, unfortunately, and it just didn't carry. There just wasn't enough people to make it, worth it. So yeah, that's the parenting. Any other questions?
You can refer some of the parents for the attendance. Would that help? When you do the attendance to the attendance?
For some of the parents to the
Yeah, we can make sure that all the administrators, they're the ones that are having those conferences. But we certainly send them.
Thank you. So the next program that we have is called Aggression Replacement Training, or otherwise known as ARTS, and it is not an art class. It is an aggression replacement training program that is also research and evidence-based. It was, again, introduced into me when I was in community mental health. And this is for teenagers ages 12 to 18, and it's basically an anger management group. It is divided up into, so this anger management group is actually 3 hours a week, and the way that Alicia and I have set it up is 1 hour, 3 days a week. And so we're starting that also on Monday, February 4th. What our thought was is when we were thinking about, okay, who do we target for this anger regression training? And we felt that Tropical Middle School would be a very good start, just because there's a lot of disciplinary issues there, and we're hoping to minimize those by the time the kids get into high school, because high school is serious. So we have talked to Mr. Adams, Mr. Holmes, and Ms. Jansen. They have put together a list of students who are
we asked them to put together a list of students who were either close to being suspended, who have been suspended, who have some trouble in these areas. And we're going to start with, I think, a group of 12 and kind of see how it goes. Our goal in the future is to hopefully get the ones, we'll kind of know at the end of this year who may need it next year, the students who are just really having a hard time, whether it's with peer pressure, whether it's just with their anger, and our goal is we don't want to suspend them.
So it's an alternative to suspension is what we're piloting it as. And so again, that's starting Monday, February 4th. We're meeting Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock at Tropical Middle School in room 30. The first, so we sort of did it in order. So the first session is social skills. The second session will be the anger control training. And so this is where the triggers come in, recognizing the triggers, how you respond, and then the moral reasoning. And those are scenarios where they get to talk about how they would handle the scenario, and they kind of have to justify their moral reasoning. And then the social skills is teaching them, just like she was saying, how to handle peer pressure and things like that. So Tropico gave us a list of students, so we're going to start with them, and then, like she said, we're hoping to target those kids as an alternative to suspension, just so that to make sure that the students, number one, they're not being suspended, so that means they're at school, they're learning, the parents aren't missing work, so it benefits the parent, and then it also benefits the district because the students are in school, rather than sitting at home on a suspension. So we will be doing a follow-up at a board meeting after we conduct the art class and give you a feedback on how that went. But we just wanted to let you know some of the programs that are available that the school district is doing to, help parents out.
We're also going to be reporting back to the principals on the progress of these students so they can kind of keep track on if their behavior is changing, if it's working, if they're using the skills. So, their participation, because it is another commitment, but it's better than being suspended. And it teaches them the life skills that they need to get through, hopefully, high school.
And it's 10 weeks, so it is a commitment. Yes?
It's 4 to 5, what's the transportation?
Parents.
Is the parent required to be there at this time?
No.
That might be a little difficult.
Yes, we discussed that with Mr. Adams and all that, and my philosophy was it's an alternative, and those parents that are committed and want their child to you know, not be suspended or want to correct the behaviors, we do need to, there needs to be also a level of commitment from the parents. Anger management classes have a very low success rate because anger is very, very hard to remediate because it's so instantaneous. You know, if I get in a fight with someone, I just got my way. You know what I mean? If I yell at someone, a lot of times I get my way immediately because they just back down. And because of that immediate reinforcement, it's very, very difficult to remediate. So we do need parent buy-in, and we will be, you know, the more parent buy-in, the more success that we'll have with the program. And really that's who we're targeting, you know, is we want to give an opportunity to those parents who, you know, kind of, they want help, they want something to help their child to learn how to manage their behaviors, and so.
This has also been done at the high school level. Heather ran some of the classes at Rare Earth before, and it was very successful there. At that time, those students got credit for staying in the classes, and I think she had a pretty high success rate.
Yeah, Mr. Holmes actually participated. He came in and watched me do those, so that was a nice, he saw me, he was pretty impressed with the program. So yeah, we understand there's hiccups. I mean, you know, unfortunately we can't, they're in trouble. There has to be some sort of pain here, unfortunately. You know, when things are uncomfortable, that's when we start changing. And when we make it a little too easy.
So you've been doing this since 2014?
Yes, yes. The parenting classes, and also I started them at the same time, right, Ms. Taylor? I believe I rolled it out. So I initially started it at Rare Earth when it was at the old district offices. I used to meet with them. That was a rough group. Yeah.
Did you collect data to see like before and after, like with the say with the anger aggression, if there was an improvement in their behavior?
When I did do it there, a lot of the kids bailed out, and there wasn't the credit. That's why we put the credit on there to sort of help motivate that. And that I was also teaching it during the day, so students could come and go if they wanted to. So I ended up with 15 students starting and 2 ending. That's, you know, because it was a mandatory, it was, hey, you know, and they used it as an excuse to get out of class, you know, so we tweaked that. So when I did it at Rare, not last year, but I believe it was the year before, I had a very, very high success rate. The toughest kid on their campus, he actually ended up graduating early, and he would cry in the sessions, and you know, he'd just be like, "Oh, you get me every time," and that really turned the turning point because he was kind of the ringleader. So I know that feedback, but no, I did not particularly keep too much data on that. This year we are, just
especially
because,
like even the parenting classes. So it'd be interesting to see like even attendance, grades, and so I think if perhaps, you know, if you're able to show, I mean, then, I mean, it sounds great, you know, and
sure.
I'm in support of all this. And so I think that the more, if you have data, then, I mean, then maybe we need to double our efforts, you know, put more into it.
So one of the things with the parenting classes is it's not mandated, it's all voluntary. And so we do get actually really, really, well, in our world we call them high-functioning parents, parents that are there for their student, there for their kids. They're trying their best. The kids actually are doing pretty well in school. They are attending, and they're just one of those, you know, I don't want to call them overachiever parents, but that tends to be. So, you know, because it's not mandatory. Usually when you mandate it, you are getting the poor students and stuff like that. But we've never, we haven't ever had a mandated parent, even through the courts, even though this is it's a recognized program in LA County's court system. I don't know about Kern County. So, But yeah, so, yeah, because it wasn't mandated, we didn't, you know, it was just out there.
Can I add something?
Yeah,
Can I
go
make a
ahead.
comment? I was just gonna say, previously, when they've done these classes, they've done them as a part of their counseling, just to try to throw extra things in, like social skills groups or the aggression replacement training, without having it as something that is like monitored, like you're speaking about. And that's why now they're presenting it kind of as a new pilot type program, because we do want to start it now where we are taking data. And we've already talked about measuring whether there's a decline in referrals, what happens with the suspensions, do any of them actually make it to a potential expulsion hearing? Is their attendance being affected one way or the other? And also doing the same thing with the parenting classes. Are those children now getting better grades? Are they attending school more frequently? So that was part of the point of them wanting to present it tonight as kind of a new pilot situation, because they want to take it to a different level other than using it just as a counseling strategy.
Okay. And one of the nice things about our parenting classes is it helps bring structure into the home. Even if there already is structure there, if there's structure in the home, the kids are going to benefit during the school day.
I do know, last year, there was a parent, who was having issues, their son was having behavioral issues in school, and she did come, to get ideas to kind of, maybe there's something going on at home. And, in her last interview, because we asked her, you know, we kind of do a verbal poll about how are they doing and stuff like that, what they thought about it, and she said that, it's a joke in their family. Oh, you have to go to parenting. But her child's behavior actually improved at school. So she gave us that feedback that the teacher was saying, I don't know what you're doing, but we're noticing a difference. So, you know, parents sign up for different reasons, and she just happened to share why and her feedback. So we had a parent.
And we've had foster parents, we've had grandparents, we've had young parents, we've had older parents. So it's nice to see the variety, and it's so, it really can fit everybody's needs. It's not specific to any one type of family.
Any more questions?
It sounds like a great program, just it'd be nice to have something to track.
Sure, and that's exactly what Ms. Taylor said, we are piloting it under a different, you know, it's also one of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you is, you know, that there are alternatives out there when you are doing your expulsion hearings and things like that, and when you're asking students to meet certain requirements, or parents meeting certain requirements, because these are offered free within the district. These are very, very expensive programs if parents were to take their children outside to therapy. To get their, you know, to participate in these. The parenting program alone is, it runs about $100 a session, so you're looking at about $1,000 just for a parenting class. The art class, the aggression replacement training, depends on your insurance. It can be a $10 copay, it can be a $20 copay. It just depends, but it is at the rate, an hourly rate of whatever the therapist charges. So yeah, so we're also, you know, asking and letting you know so that you can also send us referrals as well. And those can go to Ms. Taylor. I think my email is on the back. It is not. It's the standard, you know, first initial, last name, SKUSD. Yeah.
The only thing I would see with referrals, it would be like, is the 10-week program. So in week 2, if we have someone we're going to refer, you're going to talk in 12 weeks out. Is it going to cycle a new program? Now you're getting to the end of the school year. So quite honestly, for us, I mean, to refer someone this school year probably wouldn't work, right? With the timelines.
Because we've already got a group set.
Right, but it's a great idea.
Ideally, we'd like to have solid dates set for next school year.
Okay.
If it's put into the budget that we can have these classes, and then as expulsion hearings come up, you can kind of have the timeline of, oh, well, the aggression class is going to start at this day and it fits in, so that's something you need to do.
And a lot of times I think like they have a year to do things, or, you know, so, so we can work it out. Any other questions?
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't misbehave on your schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I keep this?
Board communication?
Can I see it?
Board communication?
Carol, board communication.
Oh, thank you for your presentations. They were great. I'm happy to see people out on this rainy day. Thank you for coming to our meeting.
I want to thank everybody too for coming, and I want you to know that the board is working on everything that we hear. I take it very seriously. I want to address everything that comes to the board. So thank you again for bringing it. Thank you for bringing it. Even though it didn't have nothing to do, thank you. I think it's wonderful. I'd like to sign up. Thank you.
We'd love to have you.
Thank you for everybody for being here. Yeah, thank you for the presentations. I wish you would have done this last year. My son's a senior. He's been wanting to go to Alaska.
He can go.
Yeah.
And he can still get the college credit.
I'm like, he would like that. And then these anger management and parenting classes, I know they're very valuable, and so I'm looking forward to see some data to go behind this, because I know I've taught parenting classes as well, and I want to look through this, but I know it's very valuable, so thank you for your efforts.
Thank you all for coming, and kind of ditto the same thing that you're saying, and the presentation was awesome. I really liked that last presentation. And then the parenting class and the direction classes, I think that's a good thing for our district, especially for our kids and our parents, and hopefully we'll be successful.
Thank you everybody for coming out. A lot of our high school kids are out here, which is kind of nice to see. It's nice to see how you guys come out and see part of, I guess you would call it government. This is our government for your school. And if you guys ever have any issues that you guys want to bring up, please do. We really like to know if you guys have something that you think that needs to be changed in our schools. Bring it up. That's what we're here for. We're here to help make everything better for you guys. And that's what the teachers do too. I mean, they're there to teach you to be better students, better people. And your presentation, great, thank you. I do remember the parenting class when it started. And the anger replacement management, I think, would be awesome. That I could probably use it. There's days that I really think I need that. On that, thank you. Next is RTA.
I'm going to take it easy on the board tonight and just stay here. Very brief. Tonight on your agenda, item 7A is the tiebreaker resolution for reduction in force. I've been through RIF hearings for our teachers a number of times, probably more than everybody else here. So I'm pretty experienced in that. When that item comes up, if you have any questions on it, I'm happy to give our perspective from RTA's standpoint. I know Mrs. Hargis will fill you in on everything there. It's pretty standard. We've had this in board packets or board agendas year after year after year. I don't see any changes in it over what's been in there in the past, and it's reasonable, so no problem with it, but if you have questions, let me know as it comes up.
Thank you.
That is it.
Kern? That's you.
Sorry, CSA.
Oh, I'm sorry, CSA. We never get anybody from CSA.
I know. And I hope to change that now.
Thank you.
My name is Gary Jones. I've recently been elected as the reporter for our Yearbooks. I'm also an information systems technician for Rosemary Elementary. And So we're trying to be aggressive with our budget cuts and get that $4 million back within the next school year. Of course, the SEA, our classified staff, we're being hit again. This is the 4th time that we're being reduced. But I'm glad this time we are actually branching out more. There's more programs that we're looking at because, of course, we want to save jobs as much as we can. As we go into negotiations, definitely before we present to the board, I hope. But hopefully we could negotiate to try to keep some of these jobs. We've been cutting and cutting all of our classified staff, and that only in turn hurts the students because there's less paraeducators. I can't really imagine losing another CSO at Roseman Elementary when we're very short as it is. There's also an idea to, and this includes the board, it's to stop the stipend for insurance rates. So that alone could be up to 4 jobs of our classified staff. So that is something I just hope you guys could take to heart. Our future cuts. So I'll be speaking with you guys each time we have a board meeting. I hope we have more positive things to say because I love this community, and I love when we see great things happening like free parenting classes, from some wonderful people. We have great staff, and it's difficult to see more people go. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for coming. So thank you for coming.
Oh, absolutely.
He comes
Thank
to
you.
everything. Everywhere I go, he's there.
So I checked in on the revolving fund that came up last week. We seldom use it now, very much less often than we used to use it. But because some things that we pay for, we cannot pay for any other way, say like WASC. When we have WASC accreditors come, we have to pay them for their travel, we have to pay them for their housing and their food. We use checks for that. We could explore lowering the limit from $1,000, but because we only use it in certain instances at this point, that would kind of tie our hands. We wouldn't have any other way of paying any immediate costs associated with having to cut a check, basically. So if that's something you guys want us to move forward with, we can. But at this point, we don't use the revolving account nowhere near as much as we used to. So we're working on closing out RES's construction project. Closing that out means there won't be any more construction going on. We had a dispute in terms of what the contractor's asking for closeout and what we think they deserve or they've earned. It's a $78,000 dispute. I had a chance to speak to our attorneys today, and their opinion is that we don't owe them that $78,000. So we're going back and forth right now, and we're working with the county as well. So hopefully we have a resolution as soon as we close it. They'll file for their retention, and as we pay their retention, we can close the project and apply for funds from the state to reimburse us for the construction of the project.
That's my other question.
That's up to $8 million. Some of that could actually go back to pay the general fund for what we were paying towards the construction, but I can't budget for it because of the uncertainty around it. So that could be anywhere up to $2 million if we do get that money from the state. We introduced a salad bar at RHS. It's been pretty successful. They go through 25 pounds of lettuce a day.
Wow.
Successful.
My son likes it.
Yeah, they serve about 100 and 150 salads a day. So it's kind of trial and error at this point, but it seems to be pretty successful. And one last item, Future Chefs is scheduled for March 14th, and that'll be for 4th and 5th graders. Future Chefs is basically this nationwide program through Sodexo. 4th and 5th graders submit their recipes, and they'll have a competition, and the winner will enter the national competition. Their recipe could be published nationally. So it's a really fun event for 4th and 5th graders.
Do we
Do need some more judges. And it's surprising how well they cook. I cannot cook anywhere near as well as some of these kids who participate.
Then they come up with some interesting things.
Yeah. And just to clarify, so Sodexo, we contract with Sodexo to purchase all our meals or all of our food stuff. If it's not Sodexo, we would contract with someone else to purchase food. So that's really the only relationship we have with Sodexo, is purchasing the meals. And the only thing we pay to Sodexo is what we actually serve. So any kind of food waste or any kind of donations, we don't pay for. Only the meals that actually are served are what we pay Sodexo for. And that's basically the wholesale cost of a meal. And it's well below what we get reimbursed from the state. That's basically the relationship we have with them. And Sodexo it's a $50 billion company, basically. And they have first rights to a lot of wholesale or distribution, basically. So this past year, there was a lot of problems with distribution, but we were still getting our food because we were working with Sodexo, whereas neighboring districts who did not have a contract with Sodexo were having serious issues with deliveries. And it has to do with the restrictions that the federal government and the state has on food. That food is difficult to produce. So only very select few distributors actually produce that food. So we were able to really take advantage of the contract we have with Sodexo, and it's a really, the state goes through the contract page by page. It takes about a good 2-3 months before the state will approve the contract for Sodexo services.
What does it cost us for that?
For a meal?
For our lunch program. We're not paying for the food on our general budget, right? Or are we?
All food services go to Fund 13. It's separate from general fund. So the last 4 or 5 years, we've had to support Fund 13 by making contribution for Fund 1. Last year was about $70,000, but 3 years ago it was $500,000. So it looks like this year we may actually make a profit in Fund 13. And hopefully, if and when we do, we really need some new equipment. That's the hope for this year. But as far as it should be a self-sustaining program. And in the past, we didn't charge for meals because that was a choice that the district made. But at this point, because we're a community eligibility provision school district, which means it's a federal program, so we get reimbursed at a higher rate. But because of that, we're not allowed to charge for any meals. Every meal has to be served at no cost to any student that participates. So basically, my hope for Fund 13, break even this year. If there's a profit, that'd be great. But you know, we've closed the gap in terms of the cost from 3 years ago at $500,000 to $70,000 last year, and hopefully break even this year. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Marcus.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming for your program. We have our 6th graders out of Camp Keith this week, and hopefully they're able to get out and enjoy, and they're not getting too wet. I think about that when I start journeying, it's like, oh no. But also on Tuesday we'll be having an LCAP meeting, and we'll be here at 6 o'clock. So.
Consent items A through E. Does anybody have any questions on any of the minutes or the July mid-month payroll, any of the donation? Any?
I have a question about E, the rate increase for the mileage. Because IRS says that you can deduct a larger amount, does that mean that we have to pay a larger amount?
Our board policy states that we will reimburse at the IRS rate.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you read the support materials along with that, it also says that they cannot use the mileage that we reimburse them on their taxes. So in other words, they can't get reimbursed by the IRS for using their vehicle that they got reimbursed for. So in other words, if they did, they'd be double dipping and then they'd get in trouble for that. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve consent items A through E.
A second?
A second.
Sanchez has a motion and.
Can I ask one question real quick?
Sure.
On the pumping the septic tank, how many tanks we got up there? $1,162.
The one in RHS where the ag area is, there's that one. I'm not sure if we have any other ones, to be honest.
It seems like
two at
Tropical.
And then.
This is Tropical Middle School. The pumping the tank at Tropical Middle School, that's almost $1,200.
Yeah.
And I get them pumped all the time for $250. Where are we going?
Rather large for that campus, but I could get you the size of them.
Yeah, find out the size and, because that, unless they're 15,000 gallon tanks.
Right.
They are.
And I'll check on the frequency too.
Okay.
Oh, I did have a question also, I'm sorry. I see November mileage for Craig Miller, $455. What's his assignment?
So he's a parent. That's an agreement we have with the parent. That student is placed at a private placement. And rather than us providing transportation, he takes his student to the school and back, and we reimburse him for his mileage. It's considerably more cost effective than if we hired to provide transportation ourselves. And there's no way we could, either we provide transportation or the parent will take the student. There's no other choice. It's gonna go up.
No, just one of the things that a bigger reimbursement type of that.
Now, is that per month, or is that from?
Per month. Yeah,
per month?
he submits it per month.
Okay. Any more questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I have first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
I just didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Approve resolution for determining of seniority among classified, certificated employees at first date of service. And, so do you want to explain that, or?
So as we move forward with our budget cuts, we are going to be reducing some of our certificated staff. Some of them may have the same hire date, and so they go through a process. HR works with schools legal to make sure that process is correct.
And then for those of you who have never gone through that, after we do the original with RTA, date hired and all that, it goes also to a judge, and then they look it all over, and then we'll get that back from them, and he'll give the recommendation of approval or disapproval. So it'll actually be checked more than once.
And does the date hire go first with the seniority, then it goes down through credentialing, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve the resolution 18-19-09.
I'll second.
This actually a motion, Mr. Benjamin will be second. All in favor?
Aye.
Personnel. Does anybody have any questions on personnel?
The CSO, she was a lead person at West Park and is going on to Tropical?
Transfer?
Yes.
No.
No? Probation? What was that?
She went from lead to CSO.
From lead to CSO? So there was a reduction in pay? In salary?
It was during a probationary period.
She didn't make it through a probationary period as a lead CSO.
Oh, okay.
She was placed in the next open CSO position.
And Mr. Plant is coming back. He's not coming back.
He's on the 39-month rehire list.
Okay, so he's,
But medically speaking, he's unable to return.
that's on,
Yeah, if and when he can, then he'd be eligible to return in any open position that he's capable of.
Do we have somebody in your place?
We're working more closely with California Schools Risk Management to help us with the risk management part of things.
Now, it doesn't have a salary for that position.
he's just been basically laid off until, and he has 39 months to come back if he can for that. He's out on medical.
Oh, okay. So we're not hiring somebody here?
There's no plans on it.
Do I hear, have a motion?
A motion to approve personnel positions hire resigns.
I second.
Motion by Ms. Grant, seconded by Ms. Robinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve single school plan for RHS. Schools by high school.
As stated, I think there are many things that still need to be resolved in the plan.
So we would like to table it?
I would like to table this, yes.
We got a motion by Ms. Brandt. Do I hear a second?
Yes, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll have to say nay on that.
We got a majority vote, so we will be tabling that till the next meeting. Ms. Gaddis?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Already? Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
8:15.